What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the War Room. I'm your host, Mistress Carrie, and this, believe it or not, is episode 178 of Cocktails in the War Room. Still kind of hard to believe that this weird happy accident of an experiment that started back on March 14th of 2020 is still going strong. So I want to thank everybody in the War Room family that joins me every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern. What's going on, Alexis? Matthew's here. Christina, Monique checking in. Paula, Ash, Jonathan is here. Heather and Trisha are watching. So is Donna and Michael. Let me know in the comments, by the way, if this is your first time joining us here in the War Room so that we can properly welcome you. And make sure you tell us in the comments where you're watching from as well. Now, Cocktails in the War Room every Tuesday night at 8:30 is kind of our way of dealing with the craziness that is this world that we've been living in. It's how we get together to talk about music, talk about what's going on in the world. Sometimes it gets pretty serious and we're looking for support. Last week's episode was a little bit rough around the edges for me. But it's basically just a place for us all to kind of meet together and to know that we're around like-minded people that love music and love all of the other things that we love as well. And because we have the internet, the War Room isn't just a regional thing. It's nationwide. And the cool thing about that is that from time to time we have guests. And it hasn't happened in a while, but I'm super excited that we've got a guest tonight, or should I say 4 guests tonight. So thank you guys for joining me here in the War Room. And I'm super excited to tell you the story about how I got to know this band because it has ties to Massachusetts. And so I want to welcome them. First thing on the show, hold on, let me make sure that I hit the right button. What's up, guys?
Hey. How you doing?
I want to welcome Lydia's Castle to Cocktails in the War Room. You guys are down in Nashville right now, but the magic of the interwebs, welcome to the War Room.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
It's cozy in here.
Yeah.
Do you guys have cocktails? I told you that we drink in here. Do you guys have cocktails?
Have a cocktail.
Oh, Tanya does.
There you go. That a girl. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Prost.
Now,
it's not a cocktail, but it's a seltzer.
That'll do. It's fine. It's fine. The rules here in the War Room are, depending on the glass I'm using, you can always tell what my drink is. And I got a fresh delivery from my friend Fernandez of some of his fantastic sangria yesterday. So we're getting full Fernandez tonight. So cheers to everybody.
Cheers.
That
does look good.
Michael wants to know if that's an MTV hat. Yes, I believe it is. He said that's very old school and cool. Very nice.
School,
back in the good old days.
Mark says, wow, the lead singer is a smoke. So, Tanya? I'm just warning you that the guys in the War Room are perverted. So, there you go. Red Solo Cup Christina says absolute classic. So, there you go. Right. Walter, get the drink, says Will. Tracy says hello. Jonathan says, I need a drink. Well, you know the rules. You're supposed to have one already. And Tracy wants to know if it's special sangria. It's not moonshine sangria, although I probably should have done that for you guys because there's a lot of moonshine down your way.
And Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I have a no brown liquor rule that I try to follow.
Yeah, I have a no liquor.
There's only a couple times a year I break that, and it's usually to toast a dime bag. And then I'm done for the rest of the year. There's no brown liquor allowed.
Got to do the black tooth, though.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
So I want to let everybody know kind of how I got to know you guys, because it's a crazy story and super random. So back in the day, obviously, WAF, the old radio station that I was on, there were a lot of signature artists that were on that station. Bands like Godsmack, bands like Stained. And last year, I went down to Nashville for this rock podcast convention. And it was all music podcasts, and there's all these people roaming around. And I turn around, and I see my old friend, John Wysocki, who was the drummer in Stained for a very long time. And I haven't seen you in years. And I didn't know you were going to be there, and you didn't know I was going to be there. And I turned around and I was like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, it was so nice to see you.
And one of the things that comes up on the Mistress Carrie podcast a lot, especially recently, and everybody here in the War Room will attest to it, is the amount of rock music that is getting made in Nashville, which is something I, coming from the Northeast, had just always assumed Nashville was just a country town and really didn't understand how much rock music was getting down there. John, how long did we talk at the convention? Like 2 hours? We were just standing there.
Cody was with me, so it was a while. We missed out on all the stuff that we had to do to talk to you.
We weren't originally going to come around your area, but John and I were like, well, we're about to leave. Let's just do one final walkthrough.
Yeah.
There you were.
I'm really sorry for all the old stories you got subjected to, Cody, because there's a lot of old stories.
Yeah, no, I love hearing all of them. Old stories.
So, John, I hadn't seen you in, it's got to be, 10 years? And I didn't know that you ended up in Nashville. How the hell did you end up there?
Well, after I left Stained, I wanted to keep pursuing music. And so I went out to LA for a little while. And there was nothing really doing out there as far as, music, like band-wise. I just wanted to be in a band. Mm-hmm. And that was really hard to find. There was studio spots, studio drummers looking for studio drummers, so on and so forth. But I like being in a band myself. So anyway, so the LA thing didn't work out, and I had a friend of mine call me, and Dan Tracy, I don't know if you know who he is, but anyway, he ended up calling me and telling me about Nashville, and I'm like, all right, I'll get on a plane, and came to Nashville and went back to LA, got all my stuff out of there, and flew back to Massachusetts for a minute because I had to get stuff there, and came to Nashville, and I haven't left since. I've been here 9.5 years.
Are all of you guys from Nashville, or did it just draw you in because it's such a music town?
No one's from Nashville.
I'm actually from Clarksville. I grew up in a military family as well. So my dad retired in 2012. He spent most of his career at Fort Campbell. So I ended up, graduating high school in 2012, went to college there at Austin P, and eventually joined a band out in Hendersonville, and that led me to just kind of staying in the Nashville area around 2016. So I'm close enough from being from there.
Is that the famous Clarksville from the Monkees song? Please tell me it's the same one.
Yeah. Yes. I've never ridden that train myself, but I've heard of it.
Clarksville's actually only about 45 minutes from Nashville.
It's not far at all.
No.
What about you guys?
I'm originally from North Carolina.
Yeah, and I'm from St. Louis.
Yeah.
So you guys are kind of all, like, you're from all over the place, but Nashville drew you in.
Yeah. This is America right here.
Yeah. So, we all kind of came together in that way. We met, I met Cody and Tanya through a mutual friend, and he didn't end up working out in the band. And so that's when Corey took over on bass. And here we are. We started writing music, and we're at this point right now.
Here we are.
Here we are talking to you.
Yeah.
It comes up a lot in the interviews that I've been doing, especially recently. And having been in the rock world for as long as I have, it is unbelievable to me how many women are represented in rock and roll now. Because I remember in the early stages of my career that if there was a band that had a woman in it or women in it, that just like the DJs, if you had one that was a woman, it was like, okay, we got one. That's all we need. And what I'm noticing now is that it's not even a novelty anymore, that it really doesn't even get brought up. Like, that you're just a rock band, and the fact that a member of the band is female. Tanya, tell me what your experience is, because you're the front woman of the band, but I would assume that you've noticed that it becomes less and less of a novelty and more just commonplace, right?
Yeah, I kind of feel like this is just the era of women in every single which way, and everything in today's society, it's, you start to see women really kind of coming to the front. And I'm just excited to be a part of it and to kind of be a part of that movement. But when you mentioned rock band, and then, normally people do think, oh, it's a guy, it's a guy's world. But, there's just so many women today that are just kind of paving that way. And I'm just excited to kind of break that glass ceiling too.
It's one of those things that, once younger girls have examples and are shown that, oh no, it's totally possible. I mean, how many artists do I know that have kids that they're just teaching them to play instruments, and whether or not they're a little boy or a little girl, like, it's inconsequential. They just want to play music with their kids. So you see girls like Nandi Bushell that are taking over the internet and like challenging Dave Grohl to drum battles all the way from England. And it's like, there's not only are there just more women, but there's so much good music being made by artists and bands that have women in them that it takes the pressure off, because for a while it was like, oh, well, if you're going to be the one band that has a woman in it, you better be good, because you're going to ruin it for everybody else.
Right.
It's kind of true.
Well, it's cool that, we do have a lot of really great examples to kind of just show other women that, you can be married and be a front woman of a band, or in a band in general, or you can balance work-life balance with kids, and there's a lot of women like, Amy Lee, who's doing that. There's just, it's just more prominent today. It's really cool to see that.
When you were growing up, who were the artists that you looked at and you were like, oh, yeah? Because I remember there were two women when I was a little girl that I wanted to be. I'm dating myself, by the way. I wanted to be Sandy at the end of Grease, not innocent Sandy. I wanted to be smoking cigarettes whore Sandy at the end. And I wanted to be Stevie Nicks because I just thought she was so fucking cool, even though I had no aspirations of being a musician myself. So for all of you guys, not just Tanya, but who are the musicians that growing up you were like, okay, that's why I want to grow up and be a musician?
Oh, man.
First off, for me, it was Randy Rhodes. That was the guy. I mean, because he had the long blonde hair, wore the cool outfits, had the white Les Paul or cream colored Les Paul, and just knew how to look good, how to play good, how to write good.
Just like you.
And he was a constant learner too, because I read somewhere that he even wanted to go back to college to like study classical guitar. So he was constantly wanting to get better and learn. And so that's the guy for me. Of course, I love guys like Dimebag, of course, and Hendrix and
Van
Clapton, all of those guys.
Van Halen,
of course. You can't leave out.
Yeah.
No way.
But yeah, I would say Randy Rhodes is kind of what started it for me.
Oh yeah.
Corey?
So I discovered Def Leppard at the age of 3, going through my mom's VHS cabinet. She had like all the old Def Leppard concert tapes. So that was, they're my number 2 favorite band now, next to the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So Flea, of course, Rick Savage from Def Leppard. So got into music at an early age. Mom was always blaring Def Leppard, Shania Twain, Backstreet Boys. I was just always getting so much music shoved into my ears.
I was going to say, you got all the genres.
So once I realized what being a rock star was, watching those early videotapes, seeing all these people being moved by this, wall of sound coming from these people with guitars, I'm like, I want to do that. So, eventually, I got my first guitar at age 8, couldn't really go anywhere with that. Then it was drums. And then, that was my brother had been playing guitar. I let his drummer borrow pieces of my drum kit, which later I never got back. So he, right.
That's an important life lesson. You never loan out gear ever.
Right. So like when I got that drum kit, my dad was actually on deployment. So, he was making that hazard pay. So, my brother gets this little Squire P bass for my birthday, and, he never did much with it. And I eventually asked him if I could fiddle around with it when I was like 11. And then, bass is easy. Anyone can do it.
I don't know about all that.
I don't know about that.
I'm not a good bass player.
I'm just talking smack on myself. But yeah, so yeah, age 11, I just, got traction on the bass guitar and fell in love with it. So guys like Flea, Geddy Lee, Ryan Martini from Mudvayne, Stanley Clark, Victor Wooten, Marcus Miller. I was really into a lot of those funk fusion guys. Chris Squire from Yes, when I really started, doing more pick stuff. And yeah, just I could go on and on, Those are the big guys for me.
But primarily Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, of course, obviously.
Lance bass.
AJ's my boy.
What about you, John?
Lance bass.
Me, well, what really at first was probably Peter Criss from Kiss.
That's cool.
Is what made me like, wow, that's so cool, that kind of thing. And then on came Bonham after that, John Bonham and Van Halen. All the way growing up through the 80s, Carrie, you know the deal.
Yeah. The
White
Tommy
Snake.
Lees with the roller coaster with the drum set.
So cool, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so cool. No, he doesn't. He's too fucking old.
My
bad. Yeah.
So what about you, Tanya? Like who was the singer? Who was it for you?
I would say there was probably like 3. Being from North Carolina, I really loved Martina McBride, just country. Always had just a really great appreciation for like her vocals and range. And then when I started getting into rock and roll, it was more of like Amy Lee from Evanescence. Really appreciated like her style and range. But the real pivoting point for me in rock and roll was back in 2013. And I remember hearing like Hailstorm's very first.
Knew it was coming.
Their very first record. And at the time I was doing country music. And but when I heard that, I said, man, I want to do what like other women aren't doing. And it was just a really great challenge. And ever since hearing that very first record, that's kind of when I started going into rock, and I really didn't look back since then.
It really is amazing. Like I talked to Amy Lee and Lizzie Hale about it when they went on that co-headlining tour last year. And one of the reasons why they insisted on all of the artists that were on that tour to be women was that they were like, we finally made it where we can put a tour together where they're all women. And the hope is not only are we going to take out younger bands that we can help lift them up a little bit, but we're hoping all the little girls in the audience can go to the show and see an example and know that this is completely attainable. And to go into a tour like that, especially those 2 singers that you've already talked about and how influential they already are, obviously their goal of what they were trying to do is working.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Lizzie and Amy, I know both of them, and they're both didn't have any attitude about it, or it was just like they wanted to, put on a good show, have a good show. It didn't matter that they were both lead female singers.
Yeah.
Both great at what they do. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing because like that was a pivotal moment for me, like listening to that album. And, you think of like that 5-year-old girl that is going to her very first concert and to like see just females on stage, like that really is like a real thing. Like that is pivotal and life-changing for some people,
Yeah, absolutely. When you guys are writing rock music in Nashville, even though it's a songwriter's town and it's a music town, rock is still not the bread and butter of that town. And as I was driving around Nashville, the whole city is built on music. It was unbelievable. It's one of the things I loved about it the most was that every building had a story. The studios, the old venues, there's just places for musicians to go and find a place to play. But what is the rock scene in Nashville like for a band like you guys that's coming up that is trying to find your lane and break out of a town that most people associate with country music, not hard rock music?
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this: rock and roll is definitely alive in Nashville.
100%. Yeah.
Even all the players that you see on Broadway playing all the country hits, they're going home and playing rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know, they're all rock players.
Yeah.
Majority of them.
And even now on Lower Broadway, you're like, especially in the late night shifts, you're getting a lot more guys playing like 2000s emo alternative. Like you're hearing My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy.
Like The Rock is taking
Metallica.
You'll hear Metallica there.
Taking Back Sunday, you know. I mean, I myself playing like a pop punk cover band from time to time. So yeah, we're slowly starting to interject that music into like that. You know, our generation's kind of taking over the nightlife a little bit.
I will say the rock scene down here definitely caters to more the classic rock side that I've noticed. There's definitely some really good some bands that kind of model off other bands like Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, that type of thing. But definitely they try to do the bell bottom, deal with the silk shirt, which is good too. There's a lot of great bands like that. But we got bands like True Villains. They're some of our good buddies down here, and that's an example of the good rock and roll you can find here. And us.
It's amazing how many people have stolen Steven Tyler's look over the years, and they'll never be as cool as he is.
Never. Only one Steven Tyler.
Yeah. Absolutely.
With hard rock, I hear it all the time in the interviews that I do, because there's so many studios and producers that are centered in Nashville now. And so artists, from LA, from all of these other places, are choosing to go there and record. So when you're a local band trying to break in Nashville, you're all of a sudden getting put in front of all of these other people, even at those local clubs. You're getting exposed to people that just are in town for whatever reason, business people, just music fans, whatever. Can you guys talk about what that rock scene is like? Because we've talked about it so much here in the War Room about the camaraderie of the rock community. The misfit toys that we all are, the accepting bunch of weirdos that we all are. But when you've got so many people coming from all over the place in Nashville, talk to me about the close-knit rock community, because it is a little bit underground there still. And we're all weirdos at the end of the day.
Oh, we're absolutely weirdos, like you said.
One big weird fest.
But no, I think it's a pretty tight-knit community as far as like all the rock bands that we've been fortunate enough to play with, and or we've gone to see, or whatever the case might be. But I think everyone's pretty supportive of each other, which is great. Obviously when you get on stage, there might be a little bit of a little bit of a battle on stage, but everyone wants to be the best.
Well, that's the whole point. Is you're even arena bands try to outdo each other. It's like,
right. Well, yeah. And you the best of friends in the world, and but when you get up on stage, you're there to perform your music, and you do it damn good, or you don't do it at all.
Right. Yeah. I will add on to this too, Carrie, is like one of the things that I've seen here in Nashville, and I lived in St. Louis for a minute where I got to see music community as well. But one of the things that I've noticed here in Nashville is that, you don't just have people going to shows that are just inside your clique. You have people who are going to shows who support various genres of music, bands that they don't normally hang out with. And it's a very regular thing, So the support here in Nashville, I've noticed, is people really love music. And they understand what you're going through and how hard you're grinding, because we're all doing it, but they get out in the trenches and they're standing at the front row and they're cheering for you. And I just think that's really cool. Just the actual support that you find here is something that I've never seen in any music scene.
Yeah.
That's very cool. And one of the things that I love about the War Room community and the people that listen to the Mistress Carrie podcast is that, not only do they want to be kept in touch with all of the artists that they already love, but this community of people, and John can tell you, like rock fans from the Northeast, like we're passionate about it, and we're always looking for a new band that we can attach ourselves to, and we're always looking, because we want to be in first, right? That we want to know the band, we want to have gotten into the band before anybody else knows, so that we can be like, nah, we were fans first, right?
Yeah, totally right.
Which is one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show. And you guys have new music coming out, so can you talk about that?
Sure. So we just released 2 singles already. Our debut single was called Phoenix. We released that in February. And then our second single released in March was called Falling Into Place. We have a third single we're releasing before our EP, and it's called Search For You. And that song is coming out on Friday, April 8th. So what is that, like?
This Friday.
This
3
Friday.
days, yeah.
Hey,
Yes.
Almost like I planned it that way when I had you come on this week.
Yeah, time is a lot.
Almost.
Almost. Yeah, no, we're excited to release it. It's a song that, is definitely really close to our hearts. All the songs we've released have kind of showed a different side of us. So we're just excited to, we're just pumping out music. We're doing what we love, and we just hope that people love it as much as we do.
A lot of people are chiming in on the comments, and I'm going to ask the question because too many people have asked me to ask the question, but they want to know the story behind the band name. So you got to tell me the story.
Sure. So the band name is really close to our hearts. Cody and I, we unfortunately lost
We're
our...
married.
Yeah, we're married.
Oh,
We've
I had
been-
no idea. I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I
so
figured-
rock couple,
that,
pound
yeah.
it. Yeah, man, we've been together since we were like 18, but a couple of years ago, about a week before our due date, we unfortunately lost our daughter. And in the midst of going through this tragic time of trying to figure out who we wanted to be as people again, we really kind of did a self-evaluation, and through building our lives and our purpose again, we built Lydia's Castle, and Lydia was our daughter's name.
That is really cool. I'm glad that everybody in the comments asked me to ask you that question, because sometimes there isn't a good story behind a band name. It's like, well, we just got drunk one night and we just decided to name the band that.
Like
But-
corn stain.
Yeah.
corn stains.
Well, corn too. Same with them.
But the fact that it is such a personal story, and that you're willing to talk about it, I think is super inspirational. And again, is something that the rock community, I think more than anybody, always finds a way to share their pain, because the rock community is kind of built on recovering from that pain. And so it's definitely what the War Room is kind of built on, is that, we all come here, we talk about whatever's going on, whether it be happy stuff or sad stuff. We've ridden out a pandemic together and all of the craziness that's surrounded that. And being able to channel that and find support in your community is a huge thing. And so for you to be able to build a band around something that is so tragic, and to be able to find light from it and to carry on her legacy through it, it's pretty badass.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank
And
you.
I think, Carrie, it goes
It
back
is.
to what you were talking about a few minutes ago, is like being a front woman and inspiring women, but also sharing the story is to also, inspire other women to know that they're not alone. There's a lot of times where men and women feel like when they're going through a miscarriage or a stillbirth or the loss of somebody, you feel very isolated and alone. So we hope by sharing our story, not only does it show that there is a light at the end of tragedy, but we just hope that nobody feels like they're going through it by themselves.
I went through it too. And it was something where, tried really hard for a long time to have a baby, and then got pregnant and lost the baby and felt completely alone and had no idea how common it was, and didn't realize that people were willing to talk about it. And once I actually started talking about it, I couldn't believe A, how common it was, and B, how people force themselves into not sharing it because of whatever it was, embarrassment, shame, blame, like whatever it was. And so the fact that this is such a common thing that no one talks about.
Right. It's mind-blowing. It's like it's kind of like back in like the day with like the opiate crisis, you know, if like you had an addiction problem, you were like shunned from your family. And the more that people talked about it, the more when it was brought up, people knew how to support one another. You know, so I think it's important to share those stories, and for people, like I said, like you, to know that you're not alone in that, you know?
Well, I think the same thing happened in the military community, too, when it comes to post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury, that it was something that so many people suffered in silence for so long. And it wasn't until those brave people started talking about it that everyone went, oh, wait, I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And while all genres of music have their place and they all like to think that their fans are the best, and, you know, I always go back to rock music because at the end of the day, when you go to the shows, I feel like the diversity at a rock show is something that every other genre of music wishes that they had. That it really is this accepting cross-section of people that outside of the venue, you can argue all you want, but inside that venue, you all know that you're there for the same reason, for the cathartic release, because the music speaks to you, and you know that the person next to you. I went and saw an artist from Nashville, ironically, on Friday night. This guy named Jelly Roll, and it's one of the most diverse audiences I've ever seen, because he's got country roots, he's got serious hip hop roots, but he's got these rock roots too. And I'm looking at like these hip hop fans and these hardcore bikers and dudes in cowboy boots, and everybody was inside that venue. And I turn around and they're all throwing the devil horns, and I was like, this is the craziest rock show I've ever seen. This is out of control.
But cool. Music brings people together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think especially with the way that we were all separated because of COVID for so long.
Yeah.
We didn't get to go to that place that we all yearn to go to, which is those live shows to see the bands that we love, because that's where we feel like we belong.
Yeah.
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 Did you guys ever do those live stream concerts?
No.
That was I did one.
It's not the same.
It's
Hey,
not.
let's not pick on streaming shows. You're on one right now, dude.
No. I'm not. You know.
No, I know what you're talking about. Any connection to live music, though, we were willing to take it. As music fans, I didn't care if the band was sitting there in their kitchen playing acoustic. Like, I just wanted live music, however I was going to get it.
Nothing like it.
Yeah. So what, you guys are getting ready to release the EP, and then obviously after you release music, usually that means you go on the road. So A, when are you hitting the road? And B, when are you coming to Boston?
Well, we do have some stuff in the works as far as making our way up to Massachusetts, or at least the northern
New England.
Yeah, the New England area.
They're
Sorry.
still trying to figure it out.
Give a girl a map.
Name the 6 states in New England.
There's no states in New England.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh.
6 of them. See what I mean?
You're thinking of old England.
She's geographically challenged.
Yeah.
Lord, if I did not have GPS on my phone, I would never get anywhere.
We'd still be
People,
waiting for you.
it's hard for people to understand that because the states are so small up here, that you can go on tour just in New England for like weeks.
Well, I keep telling everyone down here how great the rock scene is up in New England. So
Yeah, no, that's a real statement.
yeah, so I don't know. We got our start there with Stained, and everyone was good to us except for our hometown at first. I don't know why that was, but whatever.
Well, we had something very sad happen recently, and I'll end with this, John, because I know that you guys played there a bunch because I was there. But the old building that was Sir Morgan's Cove, that was the Lucky Dog Music Hall, just got torn down last week, and it's gone. And rock fans, because like even the Rolling Stones played this like unannounced club gig there, like way back in the day, and rock fans were going and taking bricks out of the rubble because they wanted a piece of that iconic old school rock venue. So that just
With the Infinity too.
Huh?
They did that with the Infinity too.
Yeah.
In Springfield, yeah.
You just want to have that little bit of the place where you used to have a lot of really good time with your friends.
Oh yeah, we used to play there a ton. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for coming on the show.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Carrie, for having us.
thanks for having us.
It was so good to see you. Totally random that I bump into you in Nashville, and I'm so excited that things are going so well, and I'm glad that you guys are on the show, and I can't wait to hear the new stuff.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, no, we
I'm
can't
sure
wait
you'll
to
enjoy it.
get it all out there. So the EP is coming out on May 8th, and then as far as like tour dates and stuff, we have a couple of shows lined up that we're just kind of waiting to pull the trigger and announce. But I think that, people will be able to see more of us.
We'll be up in New England around the fall.
It'll be a fun time.
Yeah.
And they can go to the website lydiascastle.com and
you can find everything on lydiascastle.com. All of our socials, all of our tour dates, all of our music, anything, all of our videos, merch, whatever. Everything's there. Lydia's Castle.
All right, guys. I got a bunch of music news I got to get through, and I got to announce who's on the podcast this week. So
cool.
We're very busy up here.
Hey, that's good.
Godspeed.
And I have to be full Fernandez by the end of the night. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
All right, Carrie. We'll see you soon.
All right, I'll see you guys later. Keep in touch.
Will do.
Bye.
All right, we'll see you later. There you go, guys. There they are. That is Lydia's Castle. And like I said, I wanted to have them on the show because there's a lot of old school friendships going on there. John and I have been friends for, God, it's 25 years now, something like that. And bumping into him totally randomly in Nashville was just out of control. So we got a lot to talk about on the show today. The first thing I want to do, by the way, is I want to thank all of you guys for the amazing support last week. The last week has been a roller coaster ride, and having the conversation that we did about family, relatives, I got so much amazing feedback and personal notes and private messages and emails from people sharing their stories about difficult family relationships and stuff. And I just want to let you guys know that I really appreciate it because the last week it's been a lot. And knowing that I'm not alone in that either, and that I'm not the only person that's had complicated family stuff over the years, just made it a lot easier to kind of deal with. So I wanted to thank you guys for that. I was just talking about Jelly Roll, who I went and saw Friday night at the Palladium. I want to tell you guys a couple of the stories about this show because I had an absolute blast. So I will tell you that the show is completely sold out. I haven't seen the Palladium that packed in a really long time. And my family was here. So my husband and the kids were here because my husband, like I said in the interview that I did with Jelly Roll, episode 90 of the podcast, is a huge fan. And the kids wanted to go to the show. So we got together and we said, okay, we're going to go see Jelly Roll. So I reached out. Actually, when I talked to Jelly Roll on the episode of the podcast, we got along so well. And then when the episode came out, I got a message from him. Like he direct messaged me to say, I really loved being on your show. I'm going to be up in your area soon. I really want to meet you. Will you please come to the show? And because I had referenced my husband at one point or another in the episode, he was like, is your man home yet? And is he going to be at the show with you? And so I messaged him back and said, yeah, my husband's going to come. The kids are going to come. And he was like, I'm going to take care of everything. Come to the show. Can't wait to meet them all. And Bunny, my wife, is going to be there as well. And so we brought the kids. So we go out to eat before the show. And the line to the Palladium was like down the block. And I was like, is there something going on at the DCU Center? But the line was to get into Jelly Roll. So he told me to message him when I got to the Palladium. And he sent his guys down, which Jelly Roll's got the biggest security guards I've seen in a really long time, and brought us up to the dressing room. And he sat there with my husband and kids for like an hour because he just wanted to hang out and talk. And he was talking to the kids and talking about school and talking about what books they were reading. And he was talking to my husband about his military career and the traveling that he had done. And he was just as accommodating and genuine and approachable and gracious as he was on the podcast, and then some. So then Bunny arrived, which she had just landed at Logan, and they had sent a car to get her. So she literally got to the Palladium, comes running in the dressing room, jumps on Jelly Roll's lap, and they're the most adorable, ridiculous couple I've ever seen. It's nauseating how adorable they are. And then one of the most, he called it redneck gangsta shit that he ever seen. She goes into her carry-on bag that she had just taken from the airport. She pulls out a Ziploc freezer bag, like, you know, the big giant, like Ziploc one zip freezer bags that you put like ground beef in your freezer. And she had all of Jelly Roll's jewelry in a Ziploc bag. And when I say jewelry, I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars in diamond encrusted chains, bracelets, and this diamond encrusted watch. And they were laughing about it the whole time. They're like, this is redneck gangsta shit. Don't even have a jewelry box. Literally had a freezer bag full of this diamond jewelry rolled up that was in her carry-on. Hilarious. So as you can see in the picture, Jelly Roll had a Red Sox shirt on, and he was super excited about the show. And he was getting ready to go on stage. It was like 25 minutes before he went on stage. So if you were at the Palladium, this is what was going on. And I had tickets. I really wanted to make sure that the kids were going to be okay because I knew that the show was going to be crazy. So I had tickets like up in the balcony so that I could keep the kids off the floor and whatever. And Jelly Roll was like, do you guys, want to go out and make sure that you're all set for the show? And we were like, yeah. So he calls his security guards over, and there's these two giant dudes. And he's like, take them to the merch booth and let them go shopping, and then take them to the front of house so that the kids will be safe at the show. Because we would be where the sound mixer guy is, and like there's barricades there to protect the kids and whatever. So we go downstairs, and it's me, my stepdaughter, her brother, my husband, and then another security guard. And I have a security guard in front of me. And we were all holding each other's hands. And they snaked us through the craziest, most packed crowd I've seen at the Palladium in a while. Brought us over to the merch booth and told the kids, like, you can have whatever you want. And so the kids thought it was so cool that they could pick out their own shirts. I added a shirt to my collection. I had to get it because it has a skull on it. But this was my favorite one of the shirts that he had. I loved it. And then they were like, okay, you guys got everything that you want. And the kids were just like, and then they brought us to the house mix because Jelly Roll wanted to make sure that the kids were going to be safe and that they could see really well and that they could hear everything and that everything was going to be fine. And so we watched the show and it was great. They were awesome. They ended up, because Jelly Roll is going out on tour this fall with Shinedown, they ended up covering Simple Man, which was not on the set list because they were making out the set list while we were sitting with him in the dressing room. And so as the show was getting out, the crowd was crazy. There were people everywhere. And so I just said to my husband and the kids, I said, we'll just hang out here until the crowd is gone. And Jelly Roll had said, I'll see you guys after the show. And I just told the kids, I was like, look, it's after the show. All of the people that are backstage and whatever, like, there's a really good chance that like, it's just going to get so crazy that, he's just going to kind of forget that we're out here or whatever. And so we'll just wait for the crowd to go and then we'll just go home. And then all of a sudden my phone rings and it's Jelly Roll yelling, like literally 2 minutes after he got off stage. And he's like, where are you? And I said, we're still at the house mix because we wanted the crowd to go. We wanted to make sure the kids were okay. He's like, sending my guys out to get you right now. Sent the security guards out to get us, brought us back upstairs. Jelly Roll wanted to know what the kids thought of the show and wanted to hear them talk about, the different parts of the show and the lights and the songs and kind of all of that stuff. And then he had meet and greets with other people, fans, just people. And he said to the kids, have you guys ever seen a tour bus before? And they were like, no. And he's like, I want my bus to be the first bus that you guys ever see. And so the kids were like, no way, really? And so he sent his security guards down. Now you got to remember, like, these guys are touring musicians and stuff. So there was a party going on the bus. And so he tells his guys to go down and take us to the bus. His security guards got on the bus, cleared everybody off the bus, made sure that there was nothing that the kids couldn't see on the bus, and then gave us a private tour of the tour bus, just the family. And the kids said, take pictures if you want. So the kids wanted to take pictures on the tour bus so they could act like rock stars and stuff. And then whenever the kids were ready to go, they said, okay. And we went outside, and all the guys in the band and all of the friends and all the girls and everybody that was hanging out patiently waited on the sidewalk outside the Palladium for my husband and kids to come off of that tour bus. And then they went back up on the bus, and we said our goodnights and we left. And I wanted to share that story with you guys because when I do these interviews with people, I feel like I get a really good sense of these musicians. But after I met Jelly Roll and met the people that are in his band and his camp and the guys that have been working with him for almost 20 years and meeting his wife and seeing the way that they operate and how they treat their fans, it gave me a completely new perspective on him as an artist and so much more respect for the way that he is building this career that he has. Because while his song, Dead Man Walking, is climbing the rock charts, he's got a song on the country chart too. And he's also got a really prolific hip hop career that's been successful for years. And so he's got all of these different and diverse fan bases and all of these different people around. And even if you've never heard of him before, he's got fans everywhere. And this is how he treats his fans. And so I really wanted to take the time to tell you guys that story tonight because it's not very often that I'm rendered speechless. And he was so gracious and wonderful to my family that I just thought, you know what? Like, he went above and beyond. It would have been sweet if he just wanted to meet the kids and take photos and spend 5 or 10 minutes. And that would have been the most amazing thing ever. But the kids feel like they're friends with Jelly Roll now. Like they know him. And they just thought like, wow, this famous guy wants to know us. And it was really, really cool. So I just wanted to tell you guys that story. And if you did not get a chance to go, I talked to the people at the Palladium. The show was so sold out that they had calls for like weeks with people trying to get tickets. And so Jelly Roll going out on tour with Shinedown and them coming to the Xfinity Center in September, that show is going to be crazy. But I wanted to tell you guys that story because it meant a lot. And my husband, was so grateful at how the kids were treated. And the kids had, if I were 13 and 15 years old getting that kind of access to a concert, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It was very cool, Kathy says. What an incredible night for your kids. Incredible artist and a stand-up guy, says Cheryl. Yeah, Jen, I totally agree. Class act for sure. He's perfect to go on tour with Shinedown, says Christine. Such a cool guy, says Jeff. It was really, really cool. And it was wonderful getting to know him. And it was really cool to see how they structure the show because he's got a live rock band and a DJ on the stage. And so they went from hip hop to rock to country. It's a little bit of everything. It was really, really cool. All right, let's talk about last week's podcast episode real quick. Another super approachable guy, and it's not because he's Canadian. Episode 95 of the Mistress Carrie podcast featured Neil Sanderson from 3 Days Grace. It's the first episode or interview, for that matter, I've ever done while someone was actively on a snowmobile and actively tapping maple trees to make maple syrup. Never had that happen before, but of course it's going to be Neil Sanderson from 3 Days Grace. 3 Days Grace has got their new album, Explosions, coming out in May. And right before, they're going to be at the big gig on April 30th at the DCU Center with Godsmack, Black Veil Brides, Wage War, Lilith Czar. So if you don't have your tickets yet, there's details on the show on the events calendar at mistresscarrie.com. But I just thought, once again, I've talked to the guys from 3 Days Grace a bunch of times, and they're always gracious and wonderful and humble and just super happy to be able to continue doing what they're doing. And so I just loved having him on the show. I thought he was super interesting. I loved how candid he got when he was talking about Brad Marchand and talking about how much of a football fan he is. I thought his theory about Tom Brady's yacht down in Tampa Bay was pretty hilarious. Rachel says, great, maple syrup. Now I want pancakes. Donna says, I loved how Neil was syruping. Elsa wants to know how Wednesday is. She was in here earlier when I was setting up the call with Lydia's Castle. And Wednesday said hi, and then she took off, like once the band got on or whatever. So maybe she was jealous that we didn't turn the pug cam on for her during the interview. I don't know. All right, I want to tell you guys who was on episode 96 of the Mistress Carrie podcast that goes live at midnight tonight, and I'm super excited about it because they have always been one of my favorite rock bands. So psyched. Jeff Keith from Tesla is joining me on the show this week. Tesla is coming to Massachusetts. The Pike is presenting Tesla at Indian Ranch on July 31st. Those tickets are on sale right now. And the first rock concert I ever went to, my first concert ever was Lionel Richie with Sheila E. opening up on the Dancing on the Ceiling tour. I think I was 14 years old. The first rock concert I ever saw was Bon Jovi at the then Worcester Centrum, and Tesla opened up the show. And so I have been a Tesla fan since that first show in 1986. I have just always loved this band. And Jeff Keith is one of these guys that is just a pure rock guy. It's just what he is. It's what he does. It's in his DNA. He just is exactly how you would expect him to be. And we had a really funny conversation. He used to be a truck driver, as was I. So we talked a lot about that. We talked a lot about... I had to talk to him about gardening because he grew up like in school in like the 4-H club or whatever. So we talked about that stuff. But Tesla's a band that I think got wrongfully kind of rubber stamped as like 80s hair metal because that's just not what they are. They are a blues-based, amazing live band. And I have always loved Tesla. And when I found out that the Pike was presenting the show at Indian Ranch, I was like, I need to get Jeff Keith on the show. So super excited that he is on episode 96. I'm still blown away that it's 96 episodes and going. And episode 96 goes live at midnight tonight featuring Jeff Keith from Tesla. Super psyched. You can listen to the podcast everywhere. Wherever you listen to podcasts, you can get the Mistress Carrie podcast. Here's just a few of the places that you can get it. You can also listen to all of the episodes right online at mistresscarrie.com if you don't have a favorite or preferred podcast app. And if you like and follow the Mistress Carrie podcast, not only are you going to get the full-length episodes, you're going to get the bonus episodes. You're also going to get the after action report, which is exactly what the Lydia's Castle interview is going to be tomorrow. So for anybody that missed the interview tonight or anybody that wasn't watching the War Room tonight, the interview with Lydia's Castle will be put up as an after action report in the podcast. And you'll also get the sit reps, which come out every Monday through Friday. It's all your rock news, music headlines, and industry info in less than 5 minutes. And it's every weekday, so you can stay up to date with everything that's going on. So you get a lot when you listen to the podcast and subscribe. And I also want to say what's up to the 130 countries that are still actively listening to the Mistress Carrie podcast. And Canada, while they're riding snowmobiles and tapping maple trees, is still number 2 in listenership. We got a lot of headlines to go through. A lot of shows have gotten announced, and there's so much going on that I know that we're already running late because I had the band on, but I want to make sure that I'm running down all the headlines for you too. So today, Evanescence and Korn announced a co-headlining tour. They have a date scheduled August 26th at the Xfinity Center. That show goes on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. Speaking of amazing women in rock that I was talking to Lydia's Castle about, Hailstorm, The Pretty Reckless, The Warning, and Lilith Czar are going to be at the Leader Bank Pavilion on July 19th. Those tickets are on sale right now. Collective Soul and Switchfoot are going to be at Indian Ranch on August 6th. Rob Zombie with Mudvayne, Powerman 5000, and Static X are going to be at the Xfinity Center coming up on July 30th. That show is already on sale, and I've been talking a lot about it. If you don't have tickets yet, Shinedown, Jelly Roll, and John Harvey at the Xfinity Center on September 13th. Those tickets are on sale right now. Weird Al and Emo Phillips are going to be all over New England. The most recent show getting announced, Indian Ranch on August 5th. But there's literally like 7 dates all around New England. They are all up on the events calendar at mistresscarrie.com. Alice in Chains, Breaking Benjamin, and Bush at the Xfinity Center on October 8th. I believe that's the last show of the outdoor concert season. Those tickets on sale. The Offspring at the House of Blues in Boston on May 15th. And I want to remind you guys, because if you were at the Slash show at the House of Blues or not, coming up on April 15th, April Fool live from Boston, Slash featuring Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators. They recorded the whole show in Boston, and they're going to stream it coming up on April 15th. So if you missed them, you'll have a chance to see the show. This week, a ton of new music is coming out. Now, for Record Store Day last year, this was made available on vinyl. But Aerosmith, 1971, The Road Starts Here, is getting released on digital platforms, on CD, and all of that coming up this Friday. It's the Aerosmith rehearsal that Joe Perry recorded 2 years before their debut album came out. Crazy. That's getting released on Friday. Jack White's new solo album, Fear of the Dawn, comes out on Friday. Joe Satriani, who was just on the podcast recently talking about his 19th studio album, The Elephants of Mars, that's coming out on Friday. And the new Papa Roach album, Ego Trip, comes out this Friday as well. Plus, we got new Shinedown on the way. Planet Zero comes out April 22nd. And the new Hailstorm, Back from the Dead, comes out on May 6th. That's also the day that 3 Days Grace Explosions comes out as well. The Knotfest Road Show is going to be at the Dunkin' Donuts Center on May 21st and at the SNHU Arena in Manchester on May 22nd. Also, Breaking Benjamin, Seether, Starset, and Lacey Sturm are going to be at the SNHU Arena coming up on the 22nd of this month. And oh shit, there's a typo. Tickets are already on sale. For anybody that's new to the War Room, typos mean you got to drink. Pussifer is going to be at the House of Blues on June 28th. Jack White, who's getting ready to not only release his one solo album, but he's got another solo album coming out in July. He's going to be at the Aganis coming up on the 17th. Royal Blood, House of Blues, May 24th. Ringo Starr and his all-star band are going to be all over New England, so check the events calendar. Rise Against at the Palladium coming up quick on the 9th of this month. Fozzy is at Wally's on the same night. ZZ Top at the Leader Bank Pavilion on the 22nd of July. Flogging Molly and the Interrupters at the Leader Bank Pavilion on July 1st. Jerry Cantrell is at Big Night Live tomorrow night in support of his solo album, Brighton. Turnstile is going to be at the Palladium on May 21st. Biffy Clyro with Dead Poets Society at Big Night Live are coming up on 4/20. And Dorothy is going to be across town at the Paradise on the same night as well. The Black Crowes at Tanglewood, June 29th. Blondie and the Damned at the Leader Bank Pavilion, August 14th. Apocalyptica with Lacuna Coil at Big Night Live on May 3rd. And Candlebox Unplugged at the Cabot Theater on May 6th. And also, Record Store Day is coming up in a couple of weeks on April 23rd. And this isn't even scratching the surface of the shows that I have been putting up on the events calendar at mistresscarrie.com. Guys, I'm telling you, it is the most epic concert year ever. I hope that you got concert tickets as gifts for the holidays and for your birthday and all of that. And I hope you've been giving them to, because there's just so much going on. And at the end of the month, Don't forget about the big gig. Finally, 2 years plus in the making. Godsmack, 3 Days Grace, Black Veil Brides, Wage War, and Lilith Czar at the DCU Center coming up on April 30th. And also over here, the 4th annual 100 FM The Pike Hair Fest is happening July 30th at Indian Ranch. And the next day, the Pike is presenting Tesla at Indian Ranch. And all of this stuff is up in the events calendar as well. So we got a lot going on. All right. Let's talk mail call, shall we? I got a bunch of stuff that came in the mail this week that I want to show you guys. So first things first, I want to thank Travis because he put together a little note and a little envelope because he sent me some stickers and a magnet for MCHQ. Says, keep being awesome. I got a good story of how I got the nickname, and he sent me his awesome Oscar Mike Radio stickers for MCHQ, and he also sent me a magnet too, which I love. So thank you very much, Travis. I appreciate it. And episode 300 of Oscar Mike Radio, the podcast, is coming up fast, so it's crazy. I got to catch up. I also got a package from comedian Paul Mercurio, who was on the podcast recently. He wanted to send me this because, of course, he's a writer on the show. So he sent me a shirt from The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. So thanks, Paul. It's really soft, too. It's nice. So I was super psyched to get that. Then I got this little note that says, hope you and your family are doing well, and I hope the injection in your shoulder helped. I remembered that Wednesday had a birthday coming up, and my husband and I had a little gift. I hope she likes it. Take care, Alexis and Jason. And Wednesday's birthday is Monday, which is crazy. She's going to be 4 on Monday, which we had her second birthday here in the War Room, and now she's going to be 4. So inside this little birthday box for Wednesday are a bunch of flat, squeaky, fuzzy, her favorite toys that like she can throw around. This is a fishy. Sorry if your animals are going crazy. We got a crinkle in here, which she's going to love. Look at how cute it is. And also a turtle, too. I seriously have the most spoiled fucking dog on the planet. So thank you guys, Alexis, Jason. You guys are awesome. Thank you. You have spoiled my dog rotten on her birthday. She appreciates it. And then I got this giant box from Burrito. You crazy, crazy dude. Oh wait, there was something else I wanted to show you guys. I got this letter that says, Mistress Carrie, I'm a huge fan. My song Fixing to Die is taking off, streaming, starting back in October. I sent you an artist profile, my 3 books, and some songs from my self-titled debut CD to consider to play them. I'm self-published. I'm an indie artist. Please consider me. I would love to be on your radio show. And you can check out my American speech on my timeline, We Shall Rise Above, on YouTube. So he sent me some music, and Jason Rainieri also sent me all of his books too, which I thought was really cool. So I haven't had a chance to read them yet because I just got them. Excuse me. I just got them in the mail today. But thanks, Jason. I will definitely check them out. All right. Then I got this giant box from Burrito that I want to go through because there's some crazy shit in here. So first of all, there's a toy for Wednesday, for her birthday. There is also a crazy acid trippy ball for her. There's some peanut M&Ms, which I'm literally going to eat right now because I haven't eaten dinner yet. And some Star Wars Pez. Hell yes. There's a lot of foam protecting this stuff that's in here, which is unbelievable. So there is Office Pez, which I didn't even know they made. I don't know where you are finding this stuff, Burrito, but it's unbelievable. There's Office Pez. Then there's giant Easter Pez. Now, I have some of these giant Pez dispensers. They they give out full sleeves of Pez candy. And I have a bunch of them, but I don't have this one, which is awesome for Easter. Put that right here. And the giant Easter bunny one too. Look at this thing. They're huge. I mean, it even says giant Pez on the box. Oh, my shoulder is still sore. By the way, it's all bruised up back here from the injection, just to kind of give you guys an update on what's going on. And PT has been painful. But I'm going. So we'll see what happens. Ooh, there's more Star Wars in here. We got Yoda, Stormtrooper Pez. Hell yes. And then, to add to my collection, fuck yes, for MCHQ, the Jimi Hendrix Funko Pop. Hell yes, this is so awesome. So good. And then hold on. These, I didn't even know were a thing. I couldn't believe them when I saw them, and I have no idea where you got them. Okay. These are Muppets Hot Wheels. There's the Miss Piggy Hot Wheel. There's the Fozzie Bear Hot Wheel. And my favorite, the Beaker Hot Wheel. And then, just for good measure, there's the Beatles Yellow Submarine Hot Wheel, which I had never even seen before. These, like, where are you finding these amazing things? And then there was one more thing down at the bottom. Hold on. Because why wouldn't I get matching pug socks? Look at these things. It looks like Wednesday on my feet. Dude, seriously, these are so amazing. Thank you so much. This is, when I went to the post office and I'm checking the mail and I had a bunch of orders to ship out from the online store, they came out with the box and I was like, I just dropped off boxes. And they're like, no, this is for you. And I had no idea that there would be so much cool stuff in here. So thank you. Keep moving your shoulder. It hurts, but it helps in the long run. Donna, I'm moving it. It just sucks. It really, really sucks. But I love all of this stuff, Burrito. Thank you so much. I got to go and like reorganize some stuff in the Pez closet, in the curio cabinet, because I got to make some room. And I also got to reorganize the Funko Pops and MCHQ because I got to make room for Jimi Hendrix. And I'm trying to put all of this stuff over here because if Wednesday comes in here, she's going to jump all over this stuff and I don't want her to. Now I'm going to eat some peanut butter M&Ms because I'm starving. All right. Speaking of orders in the online store, the tank tops are in production as we speak. I will have them by the end of the month for sure. And I can now officially tell you that if you are going to the big gig, I'm going to have a whole merch booth set up at the DCU Center. So you'll be able to get merch in person coming up on April 30th at the DCU Center. And the tank tops will be available, hopefully on the website beforehand, but definitely in person at the DCU Center. That's a blue M&M. So good. So I'm pretty excited about it, but T-shirt Brian, I know, is working hard on the tank tops right now. He's promising me that they're going to be done soon, so I'm super excited about that. If today is your birthday, you share, first of all, happy birthday and happy unbirthday, Keith. Cheers to you. If today's your birthday, you share it with Led Zeppelin's longtime legendary manager, Peter Grant. You also share it with Pharrell, and you share it with Mike McCready from Pearl Jam, who, by the way, it came out this week. He's making a cameo appearance on the new Ozzy album, as is Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, as is Chad Smith, as is Duff McKagan, as is Robert Trujillo, as is Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, Zakk Wylde, Tony Iommi, and Chad Smith said in a recent interview that they tried to get Jimmy Page, but Jimmy Page isn't playing guitar much anymore, which broke my heart to hear Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers say that. That we live in a world where Jimmy Page isn't playing guitar much anymore. What? I also can't believe that today marks the 20th anniversary of the death of Lane Staley, who died in 2002, ironically on the same day that Kurt Cobain died in 1994. I remember being on the air when Lane Staley died, and we were doing a live broadcast somewhere. It was on a Saturday, and we were just playing all Lane Staley stuff. All the stuff from the Faculty soundtrack, the Mad Season stuff. Having just lost Mark Lanegan recently from the Screaming Trees, who also collaborated on that Mad Season record, which I love so much. I can't believe it's been 20 years since Lane Staley passed away. It just doesn't even seem possible. I also want to welcome Crystal and Dez. They are the newest recipients of a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass on Patreon. So I want to thank them and let them know, and anybody else know that is going to get a Backstage Pass, that you get travel updates, which I'm going to be traveling next week. So I'll have travel updates. And I believe, I should probably tell you this now, we're taking the War Room on deployment next week. So we're going to be on location next week. I'll fill you in more on that coming up. But I'm going to be doing a little traveling next week. So if you have a Backstage Pass, there will be travel blogs up there. You also can submit podcast interview questions. We do an exclusive live stream every month for Backstage Pass holders. And there's a ton of concert tickets up for grabs, with more and more coming all the time. But right now, I have Pussifer tickets, Breaking Benjamin tickets, Royal Blood tickets, Knotfest tickets, Rob Zombie tickets, and there's more coming. You also get early access to event tickets. Oh, that's over here. And so much more. So there's a lot going on. So if you don't have a Backstage Pass, you can get it on Patreon, or you can just click the Patreon link at mistresscarrie.com, and all the links to all the socials are here, right in front of the Easter giant mega Pez. Happy birthday, Jane. Keith says, Carrie, read the damn. Oh my God. It's David Bowie M&Ms. Is that what you wanted me to see? Check the bag of M&Ms. You guys are screaming at me. Look at the fucking bag, Carrie Keith says. Michelle says, did you get my email about the world's tallest flagpole that may be going up in Maine? I did see that. Read the M&M bag. Happy birthday. Read the bag. I'm reading the bag. Yay, she got it finally. Sorry, I was hungry. David Bowie M&Ms. Hold on. This one's unopened. Now that I know that. You guys know how I am. I get hungry. Yay, she got it finally. Happy unbirthday, Keith. Ding, ding. We have a winner, says Brito. I'm sorry. I'm really hungry. And you sent me food, and I'm going to eat it. I can't help it. So that's what's going on. It's a lot. We're busy. Read the bag. Contains sugar, 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 and more sugar. But it's delicious. So that's episode 178, guys. Crazy. It's been 178 episodes. I was psyched that we had a guest on this week, so thank you to Lydia's Castle for being on the show. We're definitely going to start having more guests on and hopefully be able to start taking the show on the road a lot more. So we'll see what happens. Carrie, did you get to your garden? The garden is rototilled and the peas are in the ground. I planted my peas on Friday because I always plant my peas on April 1st from seed. And so the peas are in the ground, but nothing else is. Yeah, see, Donna says, did you plant your peas? Yes, I did. I definitely have some scallions and green onions coming up. The stuff that comes back every year, the mint, that stuff is coming up for sure. Full stomach and full Fernandez, says Eric. For sure. So we'll see what happens with the garden this year. Last year wasn't great. I'm hoping this year is going to be better, but it's way too early to kind of put anything else in the ground. So Jonathan says, thanks for having them on, the band. They're in the seasonal section with the Easter candy, says Keith. Alexis says, good night, everybody. Don't forget, episode 96 of the podcast is going live at midnight. Jeff Keith from Tesla. I've got some really good interviews coming up in the next couple weeks. Some really cool episodes. More stuff on the way. If some of the interviews that I've asked for actually come through, we're going to hit the first 100 episodes pretty strong at the end. I can't believe it's been almost 100 episodes. It's blowing my mind. So, thank you for the M&Ms. All right, guys. I got to go finish the sit rep, and I got to get the after action report with Lydia's Castle up. Thank you guys for hanging out with me every Tuesday night here in the War Room. Thank you for the snacks. And I'll see you guys next week, and we'll be on location. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Be safe. Have a fantastic day tomorrow. And don't forget to listen to the new podcast episode. All right, good night, guys.